So let me tell you about one of the craziest transactions I've ever been a part of. This one was a lot of fun. So the wife of a good friend of mine gives me a call and she's like, "Hey Paul, I really like this house." And I'm like, "Okay, well, she's a good friend too. Known them for years." I told her, "Well, I got to let your husband know that, we're going to be looking at this house, but yes, let's go check it out." Now, they've bought maybe 9 or 10 homes, bought and sold with me over the years. And the house that they're interested in was very nice, but they also lived in a luxury home that they bought in that same neighborhood a little bit over a year ago. So the house she's interested in is gorgeous, okay? So it's listed at about $1.25 million, and it just hit the market, just came on the market. There's a lot of people interested in this house. They had tons of showings, got into multiple offer situation really quickly. The buyers were aggressive. Even for it being, listed at $1.25 million, people were really after it. It was a lovely house. So I told them, "Hey, don't worry," because after showing it to them, they're like, "Paul, yes, we love this house. We really want it. It's a dream house." So I said, "Okay, don't worry about it. I teach classes on how to beat out multiple offers." I mean, they know me personally, so they know I can handle it, but I had to get a little bit creative with this one. So I had to change some of the terms. We had to go above list price, and I had to put $25,000 in escrow. So they had a lot of money on the line on this one, and that's just how it ended up going with so many people interested in this house. So we ended up winning. We ended up winning the multiple offer situation. We got the house secured. It went pending in their name. But the kicker was on this one is that they had a 7-day inspection period, and I had to get their house that they currently lived in listed and under contract within 7 days, because that was their inspection period. So I had to move like really fast. Okay, so I've got everything lined up, the photographer and everything, and we got it listed. Luckily, we kind of had action right out the gate. Getting great exposure for a property is kind of what we do, and I teach classes on that as well, obviously. So we got a bunch of showings, but things got a little bit hairy because we're going into day 7 of our inspection period, which is the last day, and we still didn't have an offer. So he calls me and he's like, "Hey Paul, maybe we should just cancel this deal and get our money back," because he was worried about losing the $25,000 because we still didn't have an offer on his house. So I told him, "Okay, wait, I'm gonna look at the inspection. Let me see if I can find some things in there." So I ended up looking at the inspection report and got our inspection period extended, because it wasn't really just me getting a credit or whatever. I really needed more time. So that was kind of the key there. So I got an extended 3 days, and I actually ended up getting them a credit of around $3,000. So they made some extra money on the deal, but I got that extension. So I got in a 3-day extension, gave us a little bit more time to try to get their house under contract, because we didn't have any, contingency on their house selling. But I got 3 extra days. We had a bunch of showings still. We had somebody coming back for a second showing, but I knew this buyer was maybe a little bit flaky based on the questions that their realtor was asking me. But obviously he was interested in the house. He's coming back for a second showing, but I still didn't have an offer yet. And then we're at the last day of those 3. So we're day 10 now, and I get another call. "Hey Paul, maybe we should take down this property, cancel the deal, get our money back." Day 10, he called me in the morning. I told him, "Hey, hold on. I might be able to get something by the end of the day. So just give me till the time to see if I can get something worked out. If I can't, I'm gonna send the release and cancel by the end of the day, so you can, so your money is secured and you can get your $25,000 back." And it comes down to 11:50 at night. Okay, so I'm working on this deal. I finally get an offer. I get the contract 11:50 at night, and they're like, "Yes, finally, we got the contract." But here's the problem. There's a couple issues with the contract that I knew for sure I needed fixed. Like, for instance, one, I needed them to have $25,000 in escrow as well. So if this one deal fell through, at least they could get their money back. But also, I needed their loan approval time period to be 0. So that was kind of critical, okay? Because I wasn't sure about this guy, and I didn't want to give him any outs. So I ended up sending the contract back, even though I got it at around 11:50. I sent it back, so we ended up getting the correct contract with the loan approval time period of 0, 25 grand in escrow at 11:58. So I didn't have to send the release and cancel. We got the deal under contract. We're good to go. We were truly down to the wire on that one. Literally, I had seconds before I had to send a release and cancel, and they had $25,000 on the line. And, these were clients of mine, but they were also friends, so obviously they'd be pretty upset if I just lost them $25,000. But I got the deal and I got it the way I wanted it to kind of protect them along this process. And it turns out my intuition was correct, because as soon as we went under contract, the buyer for the house that they were selling started complaining about things. He was, obviously he was trying to haggle to get the price down. So the first thing he hit me with was the square footage. He said, hey, look, the tax records don't match what's in the MLS. And he wanted this massive price reduction. Like it was like $50,000 off the price, or so. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he wanted a big price reduction because they didn't match. But truth is that happens, right? So sometimes the tax records are missing a bedroom or a bathroom, and sometimes the square footage is off, but it happens from time to time. But this house, and I told him, look, they bought this house a little bit over a year ago as the exact same square footage listed as when they bought it, and it's been sold a couple times since then, or previously anyway, and it was always the same square footage. So just like they did, you're gonna have an appraisal. Obviously the appraiser is going to see if the price matches up. The appraiser is going to measure too. He's going to have the square footage on the appraisal too. We hadn't had any issues with it, so it is what it is, and we're not going to give you any price reduction. So it turns out that he was just playing games. He just wanted to get the price lowered, and he didn't even do the appraisal anyway. So we won that battle. On to the next one. Like many transactions, it's always something popping up. So of course, now that I have these two big pending transactions, I have a company sales trip that was planned like 6 months ago, right in the middle of them. So something I learned early on in my career, no matter where I'm going, if international or staycation, I'm bringing my computer. And if it's an international trip, I'm paying for the international phone service. So you can call me, you can text me. I'm still available to troubleshoot problems and take care of business. Because as a realtor, you're never clocking in, but you're never clocking out either. So even though it was a fun trip, and at times I was probably, highly inebriated, I still found time to take care of things, regardless of what popped up. That way I can make sure both transactions went smoothly, and that's just what professionals need to do. And so the next thing that he hit me with was a loan denial. He was like, hey, I'm gonna cancel this deal. I got a loan denial. And I explained to his realtor, I was like, look, he has a 0-day loan approval time period. He can't just, whether he has a loan denial letter or not, it doesn't matter. He's not getting his 25 grand back. And his realtor was having such a hard time that she called me and she was like, hey, Paul, I want you to talk to him directly. I want you to explain to him, I've tried, he's really hard, personality to deal with. I want you to talk to him. And I'm like, well, sure, I can do that. But you got to connect me. It's not typical that a listing agent is going to be talking to a buyer personally. But I ended up doing it. And, I kind of explained to him the situation, and I told him, look, you don't have a loan approval time period. You can't, if you end up getting a loan denial letter, you're going to end up, losing your escrow. And he said, okay. And magically his financing got cured, and he actually ended up moving forward and closing on the house. I mean, the truth is the guy was getting a really good deal, and he was just negotiating. A lot of times on these higher end properties, people haggle about this and that and the other because they're trying to get the best price, which, obviously that's what you should do on the buying side. You should try to get the best price. And my job representing the sellers is trying to get them the best price. So he was just negotiating, and he ended up moving forward with the closing, and he got a great deal on the purchase. And it was a really nice house as well, the house that they were selling. So at the end of the day, everybody was happy. And my friend, after these two closings happened, he told me, hey, Paul, look, I don't know anyone else that would have gotten that deal done between the two of them with all of those things going on. And he's a regional director of a mortgage company here in Central Florida. So for him to tell me that, honestly, was a pretty big compliment, because I know he knows thousands, like literally knows thousands of realtors. I mean, just him using me in these transactions was a big deal. But that was a nice compliment, and I'm glad it all worked out. They ended up getting their dream house, and the house that they sold, even though they bought it a little bit over a year ago, I think they made around $170,000. They sold it for $170,000 more than they bought it for. So that's a pretty good profit margin for a little bit over a year. At the end of the day, it was a fun transaction. The buyers got the house that they wanted. the buyers for the house that they sold ended up getting a really nice house as well. Everybody got a good deal. Everybody was happy. It was success all around. So it's not too much to complain about. Obviously, from a realtor standpoint, you know, it was a lot of learning, a lot of negotiating, a lot of getting things done. Big commission check at the end, so that was nice as well. So if you have any real estate issues, feel free to reach out to me, give me a follow, and like always, you know, on to the next one.